Hello everyone, welcome to Career and myself Mohan. We are at session 2 of TCS NQT previous year question discussion. I have included the link of session 1 in description. If you haven't watched it, please have a look at it. Where we have discussed many problems related to TCS NQT. So if you haven't watched it, please have a look at it. So at this session also we are going to discuss previous year TCS NQT quants or numerical ability questions. So stay tuned till the end. Now, question number 1. The difference between the ages of two of my three grandchildren is 3. My eldest grandchild's age is 3 times the age of my youngest grandchild. And my eldest grandchild age is 2 years more than the age of my two youngest grandchildren added together. How old is my eldest grandchild? So in this question, we have three people and their names are given as eldest grandchild and we have two youngest grandchildren. Right, so you can name the middle one as M and the youngest one as Y. Now, it is given my eldest grandchild age is 3 times the age of my youngest grandchild. So, if you take the youngest grandchild age as X, you have to take the eldest grandchild age as 3X. And you have the second hint. The second hint is my eldest grandchild age is 2 years more than the age of my two youngest grandchildren added together. So you can write like this. So eldest grandchild age is 2 times more than the sum of the other two youngest grandchild's age. So you can write like this. Okay, now instead of y, you can mark it as x because you had y marked as x. And instead of e, you can take it as 3x. So 3x equal to m plus x plus 2. That's it. So you can write 2x equal to m plus 2 or you can write m equivalent to 2x minus 2. Now instead of m, you can write 2x minus 2. That is, the age of eldest grandchild is 3x. And middle one is 2x minus 2. And youngest one is x. Now we try to solve the problem from options. Now if you equate, so you have to find the age of eldest grandchild, right? So you can't equate the eldest grandchild as 10 or 13 because if you equate 3x equal to 10, you will not get a whole number, right? So you will get a decimal value. So option C and option D will not work out. So if you take option A, right? So if you take option A, you can equate the eldest grandchild age 3x equivalent to 15. So if 3x is 15, what is x? So x is youngest grandchild, that is 5. And if you substitute the value of x in 2x minus 2, you get 10 minus 2, 8. That is the middle one age is, so for middle one, we can take it as m. Middle one age is 8. So the eldest one is 15, youngest one is 5, and middle one is 8. Or if you take eldest grandchild age is 12, 3x equal to 12. Then the youngest one is 12 by 3, 4 years. Then the middle one is, when you substitute this 4 in 2x minus 2, you get 8 minus 2, 6. Right? So, like it's look like both the options are satisfying the condition, but if you look at the first line of our question, the difference between two ages of two of my three grandchildren is 3. Now check these two answers where the statement exactly follows. So here if you take option B, so is there any difference that you are getting 3 for any of the two grandchild? So what is the difference between 12 and 4? So you get 8 and 12 and 6 you get 6. For 6 and 4 you get 2. See, for no two grandchild, the difference you are getting is 3. So you have to eliminate option B. So obviously you have to go with option A. Because in option A, the middle grandchild and youngest grandchild difference is 3 years. Right? So our first statement follows for option A. So answer for this question is option A, 15 years. Students, hope you understood how to solve the first problem. Now moving to question number 2. In a country, 60 percentage of male citizen and 70 percentage of female citizen are eligible to vote. 70 percentage of male citizens eligible to vote voted and 60 percentage of female citizens eligible to vote voted. What fraction of the citizens voted during the election? Okay, in a country we have male and female. So always the male and female population is 100 percentage. Right, so the initial population of male is 100% and for female is also 100%. Now out of this 100 percentage, 60 percentage of male population and 70% of female population are eligible to vote. So what is 60% of male population? So 60% of 100 are eligible to vote. In female, 70% of 100 are eligible to vote. But even in 60%, only 70% of male citizens eligible to vote are voted. So out of the 60%, only 70% voted. So what is 70% of 60%? So when you cancel this, you get 42%. And 60% of the female population eligible to vote voted. So out of the 70% female population eligible to vote, only 60% voted. So what is 60% of 70%? You get again 42%. Okay, now our question is, what fraction of the citizens voted during the election? So you have to find what fraction of the citizens voted. Now, if you take totally, we have 100 male, out of 100, only 42 male candidates voted. Similarly, if you take 100 female, out of 100, we have only 42 female candidates voted. Now, totally, we have 100 plus 100, 200 people. So, out of 200, only 42 plus 42, 84 candidates voted. That means you can write it as 42 upon 100. That is only 42% voted. So that is 0.42 candidates. That is 0.42 is the fraction of candidates who voted during the election. So answer for this question is 0.42. This becomes your answer. Hope you understood the problem. Now question number 3. A lady has some socks and hats in her closet. 17 blue, 47 red and 24 yellow. The lights are out and it is totally dark. In spite of the darkness, she can make out the difference between the hat and sock. She takes out an item out of the closet only if she is sure that it is a sock. How many socks must she take out to make sure that she has two socks of each color? That means she have to select totally three pairs from different colors. So from blue is she have to select two socks, from red she have to select two socks, from yellow she have to select two socks. So for that minimum she have to choose how many socks. This is our question. So we have 17 blue color socks and red color we have 47 red, and for yellow we have 24 yellow color socks. Now you have to make three pairs of each color. So from blue you have to make one pair, from red you have to make one pair, from yellow you have to make one pair. One pair means two socks. So for this you have to select how many minimum number of socks. So we can go in this way. Always we have to start from the maximum value. Assume first the lady is choosing 47 socks, right? So this 47 socks could be of any color, right? So it could be the club of blue, red, yellow, or blue and yellow, and so whatever it could be, right? So we have selected 47 socks, or even it can be 47 red color itself, right? And next we have to select 24 socks. So the second largest number is 24. We have to select 24 socks. Now we totally selected 47 plus 24, 71 socks, right? And next we have to select two more socks. The reason why we are selecting in this way means, assume you are selecting 47 socks at initial stage. So that could be from both blue and yellow, right? So what is blue and yellow here? So 17 plus 24, we get 41 socks, right? So from this 41, 41 could be 47, 41 could be the mixture of both blue and yellow, or there is a possibility all the 47 can be red, right? So you have to assume you have chosen all the 47 as red. This is for our safer side, right? So after that we have to select 24 socks, right? So from these 24 socks there is a possibility that it could be a mixture of both blue and yellow color socks. But for our safer side, we are assuming all the yellow color socks are, all the 24 socks are yellow in color. Now, if all the 47 socks are red and all the 24 socks are yellow, you have to choose only two socks. So it is sufficient to choose only two socks, and that will definitely go from blue color, right? So 47 plus 24 plus 2, you get 73 socks. So you will totally get how many socks? So it is 11 and it's 3. Yes, it is 73 socks. So you have to select 73 minimum number of socks in dark to obtain three pairs of socks of different colors. So answer for this question is 73. So this question is completely logic based. So you don't need to have any workout if you understand the concept clearly. So answer for this question is 73. Now moving to next question. A clock is started at noon. By 10 minutes past 5, the hour hand has turned dash, and the answer is given in degree. Okay, now in a clock we totally have three needles. So from this you have to focus only the two needles, that is minute hand and hour hand. So 12, 6, 3, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, I am drawing a clock, right? So 9, 10, and 11. Okay, now if you take 5 o'clock, so at 5 o'clock, the minute needle will point to 12 and hour needle will point to 5. And you know the initial distance between the hour needle and minutes needle between both the, I mean, minute and hours needle exactly at 5 o'clock is 150 degree. So that is from this angle is 150 degree. Now, students, we know the total angle of this clock is 360 degree because it is in circle shape, right? Now, we are dividing this clock into 12 equal subdivisions. So, one subdivision is 30 degree. So, from 12 to 5, it is totally how many subdivisions? 5 subdivisions. So, into 5, it is 150 degree. So, this is how we have found the angle between the minute needle and hour needle at 5 o'clock is 150 degree. And one more thing, by 10 minutes past 5, so 10 minutes past 5 means 5 o'clock and 10 minutes, you have to find the hour hand have turned how many degrees. Okay, now the hour hand will cover the complete clock, that is the one complete circle in how many hours? So in 12 hours, the hour needle will cover the complete 360 degrees. So in 1 hour, it will cover 360 by 12, only 30 degrees. That is in 60 minutes, right? So in 60 minutes, it will cover 30 degrees. So in 1 minute, it will cover only half a degree. So hour needle will cover only half a degree per minute. So we have discussed about the concept in our clocks and calendars, right? So we have discussed the same concept and I have included the link in description. So if you want to have a look at it, just click the link. Okay, now for 1 minute, the hour needle will turn half a degree, right? So actually at 5:10, the hour needle, right? So for 10 minutes, this hour needle will turn how many degrees? So definitely it will give a tilt, right? So for 1 minute, if it is half a degree, for 10 minutes, 10 into half, so it will make a move of 5 degrees, right? So actually it had moved only 5 degrees, but we have already identified from this 12 to this point, it is 150 degree. So again, another 5 degree, it is totally 155 degree. So answer for this question is 155 degree. This becomes your answer. Hope you understood the problem. Now moving to next problem. If Ram speaks truth 40% of the time and Lakshman speaks truth 60% of the time, then percentage of the case that are going to contradict each other in stating the same fact is dash. So contradicting the same fact means if Ram speaks truth, Lakshman have to speak lie. If Ram lies, Lakshman have to say truth. So we call it as contradicting, right? So we have two persons, Ram and Lakshman. So Ram speak truth in 40% of the time. So Ram speak truth in 40% of the time and he lies in the remaining 60% of the time. Similarly, Lakshman speak truth in 60% of the cases and he will lie in remaining 40% of the cases. Now, both of them are speaking. So that should be contradict, right? So when Ram speaks truth, that is, Ram will speak truth in 40% of the cases. During that time, Lakshman will lie. So he will lie in 40% of the cases. Or if Lakshman speaks truth, that is, Lakshman will speak the truth in 60% of the cases. During the same time, Ram will lie, and it will happen in 60% of the cases. So it is 60 by 100. So it is 60 by 16 by 100. It is 36 by 100. While adding, we get 52 by 100. So both of them will contradict in 52% of the cases, right? So answer for this question is they will contradict each other while stating the same fact in 52% of the cases. This becomes our answer. Hope you understood the problem. Now moving to next problem. Uma has 50 red and 50 blue balls. She has two bowls with her. She had to distribute the balls in these two bowls in such a way that none of the balls are left empty. If one were to choose one of the two bowls at random and then randomly draw a ball from it, the probability of the ball being red is maximized. After this distribution, what will be the total number of balls in the bowl with a larger number of balls? Okay, so here Uma have 50 red color balls and 50 blue color balls, as well as she have two bowls, bowl number 1 and bowl number 2. Now, what is the condition given? If one were to choose one of the two bowls at random and then randomly draw a ball from it, the probability of the ball being red is maximized. That means you have to choose one bowl from two bowls, and if you pick one ball from it, it should be a red color ball definitely. So that is maximizing the probability. That means out of 50 balls, if she put one ball in the first bowl, that is red color ball in first bowl, she is left with how many balls remaining? She will have 49 red color balls and remaining 50 blue balls, and that have to be in bowl number 2. So 49 plus 50, 99 balls will be in bowl 2. Now our question is, after this distribution, what will be the total number of balls in the bowl with a larger number of balls? So what is the larger number of balls in bowl 2? 99 balls. So this becomes our answer. So the problem is so simple, right? So when you follow the question structurally, then it's so simple. Now, moving to next question. Okay, Bhaskar called his friend Saguntala for dinner to celebrate his wedding anniversary. Saguntala reached the street where he was but forgot the door number. She called Bhaskar for his door number. Being a geek in maths, he did not give the door number directly, but told this is the middle number of the three numbers. Okay, so totally we have three doors. Out of the three doors, Bhaskar lives in middle door, that is in the middle house, where the difference between the first and second number is same as the difference between second and third number. The product of the first and last is 273 and the sum of the three numbers is 51. Saguntala reached his home on time. His door number is dash. So we have three doors, door number 1, door number 2 and door number 3, where middle door is Bhaskar's door. Now the hint given is, see the difference between door number 1 and door number 2, door number 2 and door number 3 are equal, and product of the first and the last door is 273 and the sum of these three doors is 51. Now definitely answers lies in prime factoring the number, right? So when you prime factor 273, so in third table, so 91 times. So in seventh table, so 1 and 13 times, right? So 3 into 7 into 13, you get 273. So we try to sort out the number using the prime factors. See, you can write 3 into 7 into 13 as 3 into 7, 21. So 21 into 13, you get 273, right? So 21 and 13. Now we are fixing the first door number as 21 and the last door number as 13. And sum of the three door number is 51, right? So 21 plus 13 plus some other numbers will give you 51. So 21 plus 13, we get 34. So 51 minus 34, we get 17. So middle numbers will be obviously 17, right? And they said the difference between first and second door number and second and third door number will be same. So it is 4, right? So you might have a doubt. So why we had selected 3 into 7? Why not 7 into 13? Because 7 into 13, what we get? We get 91 and 91 and 3. So if you fix the first door number as D1 and second door number as D2 and D2 you have to find. So definitely the sum will not be equivalent to 51. So this will not work. Similarly, if you take 3 and 13, you get 39. So 39 and 7. So here sum will be equivalent to 71. I mean 51. So 39 plus 7, you get 49. So definitely you have to fix the number 2 here, right? And the difference are not same. So again, that combination will also not work. So we have to go with 3 into 7, 21. This combination and this. So this will definitely work. You might have a doubt. So why we haven't placed the lower number 13 here and 21 here? You don't need to worry about that because your focus is only on middle door number, because this is Bosker's door number. So answer for this question is 17. Hope you understood how to solve this problem. Actually, the question seems to be little complex, but the concept is so simple. Now moving to next problem. There is a horse and saddle. The sum of their cost is rupees 1100. The cost of the horse is rupees 1000 more than the saddle. Find the cost of the saddle. So this problem is so simple. So this is also a TCS NQT question. So we have horse and saddle. So the cost of horse and saddle is 1100, and it is given the cost of horse is 1000 rupees more than saddle. So horse price minus saddle price is 1000. Now you have to find the cost price of saddle. So when you cancel this, you get 2h equal to 2100. So cost price of horse is 1050. So out of 1100, if 1050 is horse price, then saddle price will be 50 rupees only. Right? So the cost price of saddle is only 50. So this kind of problems are so simple. Now moving to next problem. Find the 32nd word in the list where the word MONOS is permuted in all the possible ways and arranged in alphabetical order. So this is small letter is. Okay, first you have to arrange the letters of the word monos in ascending order. Then you have to find the 32nd word in the list. Right, so when you arrange the letters of the word monos in ascending, you will get MNOOS. Right, so this is the first word. Now starting with the letter M, you will get how many such words? So answer lies in permuting the numbers, right? So you totally have 1, 2, 3, 4 letters. So in 4 factorial, where O repeated for 2 times. So divided by 2 factorial. So 4 factorial by 2 factorial, you get 12. So starting with the letter M, we will get 12 such words. So after completing M, the next word will be starting with N. So with the word starting with N, with the letter starting with N, you will get how many such words? So again you have 4 words. So in 4 factorial, here also O repeated for 2 times. So by 2 factorial, you get 24 by 2, 12. So totally 12 plus 12, we got 24 words of the alphabet, right? So alphabetical order. So after completing N, the next starting letter will be O. 1, 2, 3, 4. So after fixing the letter O at first, you have remaining 1, 2, 3 and 4 numbers, but all the numbers are different. So the value of 4 factorial is 24. Right, so 12 plus 12 plus 24, you get 48. Right, so totally 48 ranks will be completed. So you can't fix O at first. So after fixing O at first, you have to choose the second letter also. Right, so once you fix O, the second letter will be obviously M, because that is in ascending order. Right, so O M. So remaining you have 1, 2, 3 such letters. So these 3 such letters will be filled in 3 factorial ways. So what is the value of 3 factorial? You get 6. So totally we have completed how many letters? 12 plus 12, 24, 24 plus 6, 30. So we have completed 30 letters, right? So with letters starting with O and M, we will get 6 such words. So totally we have completed 30 words. Then what will be the 31st word? So after OM, the next letter will be ON, right? So ON. So when you write this in ascending order, right? So O N M O S. O N M O S is the 31st word. Right. So in dictionary, after O N M O S, what will be the next word? O N M. This will be interchanged, right? So as per in alphabetical order. So that will be 32nd word. So answer for this question is O N MSO. So this becomes the answer for our last question. So this question completely works on the basis of permutation and combination, and we have discussed the same concept in permutation, right? And I have included the link in description. If you want, you can have a look at it. I hope you understood all the problems of this particular session, right? So if you like the video, click the like and share the video to your friends. So stay connected with Creative Training Solutions. Thanks a lot for watching and have a nice day.